Ladies and gentlemen, hit subscribe to this channel right now. This is huge. John Brennan is about to be indicted. This is an article from the Independent. Ex-CIA Chief John Brennan referred for criminal prosecution over RUSSIAGATE. It's very important to understand the following. Number one, when looking at Brennan's upcoming indictment, the DNC and Clinton campaign themselves wanted to elevate Trump. Any rebuttal or defense of the indefensible that ignores the fact that Politico published an article, a great article. They always wanted Trump. This is before they lost, or it was written likely before they lost. In the emails, they literally wanted to elevate Pied Piper candidates, Dr. Ben Carson, President Trump, or then candidate Trump, and Ted Cruz. So everything you hear from here on out pertaining to Brennan's testimony is a complete lie. How could the Russians and the Clinton campaign both have wanted Trump? We know from the DNI documents and from the declassified Durham probe annex that there was a concerted effort to utilize the dossier to funnel it through the United States government. The Durham probe annex and the 13 references, or 12 references here, to John Brennan within the declassified documents prove that there was a conspiracy. There's no doubt, and you can hear that within the following testimony. Check this out. This is the basis of the upcoming indictments. There was never a shred of evidence. If you look at the declassified documents that John Ratcliffe and Tulsi Gabbard and Chuck Grassley and others declassified or helped declassify, there was not one shred of evidence. No video, no audio, no money trail. Nobody in Trump's campaign committed not even a campaign finance violation. But the Democrats did commit a campaign finance violation. They literally paid FEC fines because they used campaign money to set up to pay for a dossier that was funneled through the United States government. This dossier was not only proof that Brennan and others set up and framed Trump, but check this out. Hit subscribe to this channel. Be here for the live stream tonight. And go to H.A. Goodman's other channel below and hit subscribe.
Another Democrat colleague on the other side of this committee also used the word evidence, that he has seen evidence of collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russians. And yet a third California Democrat said she had seen no evidence of collusion. So that's three different members of Congress from the same state using the same word, which is evidence. And that's the word that my fellow citizens understand, evidence. Assessment is your vernacular. Tradecraft is your vernacular. You and I both know what the word evidence means. And we're not getting into whether or not you corroborated, contradicted, examined, cross-examined. We're not getting into how you tested and probed the reliability of that evidence. It's a really simple question. Did evidence exist of collusion, coordination, conspiracy between the Trump campaign and Russian state actors at the time you learned of 2016 efforts?
I encountered and am aware of information and intelligence that revealed contacts and interactions between Russian officials and U.S. persons.
Okay, contacts and interactions is not evidence. Otherwise, everyone involved in the Uranium One scandal would be indicted and charged and convicted and sent to prison. So that's nonsense. There was no evidence. That's why he claimed, that's why he stated, the only true thing he stated earlier on in this testimony in 2017 was that I don't do evidence, he doesn't do evidence, he does intelligence, which apparently is not synonymous with evidence. This testimony obviously is beyond the statute of limitations. The statute of limitations, though, doesn't pertain to Brennan regarding conspiracy statutes, but also he testified within the past 5 years. Okay, so he did testify within the past 5 years. Almost certainly, the lies were the same. Okay, there was no evidence, but check this out. This is okay. There was no evidence, and the absurd defense that, well, it was unprecedented. Another foreign power was influencing our election. Comey wrote the Comey letter, influencing Clinton's loss more than anything else. Then, of course, they cheated Bernie Sanders in a primary that was a complete debacle. Then there was top secret intelligence on private servers, which was obviously covered up. Nobody knows how Clinton transferred top secret, or her team transferred top secret and special access program intelligence onto servers. But check this out. So Clinton lost, and you would have had to have been a complete imbecile to think that she'd win. Again, most people thought I was saying that she was going to lose. But let's continue.
Involved in the Trump campaign that I was concerned about because of known Russian efforts to suborn such individuals. And it raised questions in my mind, again, whether or not the Russians were able to gain the cooperation of those individuals. I don't know whether or not such collusion, that's your term, such collusion existed.
The CIA chief did not know if collusion existed. That was and then he said, that's your term. No, that was the term specifically that they wanted to conjure up and create, and media ran with it. And what they would do is nefarious. People under Brennan himself almost certainly, Comey is on record as stating he actually leaked memos to create a special counsel. They leaked information to media. Lifelong Democrats within media, most of media, or lifelong, staunch supporters of the Democratic Party. Then when they leaked the information, it became public record. So when BuzzFeed published the Steele dossier, you had other publications trying to verify it. It was complete nonsense. It was used within the U.S. government, the United States government, to set up and frame an incoming candidate. We know from the Durham probe annex, which is what John Ratcliffe mentioned alongside the ODNI report, that there was a concerted effort on numerous fronts to set up and frame Trump. Okay, that's why they went from emails showing that they wanted to elevate Trump. So they literally wanted to elevate Trump, which is what they claimed Russia wanted. But then when they lost, nobody remembers the Politico article, not only the Politico article, but all the information pointing to how giddy and happy Democrats were to have to face Trump. All the polls showed that they were going to defeat him by a landslide. But we know those polls, and the whole thing was a facade. Clinton she had a good chance of winning, but there was something almost certainly that was going to take place because there were so many scandals that were covered up. So Comey wrote the Comey letter, which was the greatest. That caused the destruction of Clinton's campaign, almost certainly. Okay, but aside from that, you had Brennan lying under oath, which is likely what he did, which will be part of the indictment upcoming. Lying under oath, stating that he had a hunch, that he really thought that Trump could have colluded with Russia. Well, but the Clinton campaign wanted Trump. So how on earth could that happen? How on earth could Russia and the Clinton campaign both want Trump? And there's no evidence. And they use a dossier. And he knew the origin of the dossier. So did Brennan, almost certainly. How on earth could the CIA and FBI chiefs both be completely ignorant on the origins of a dossier that they funneled into the U.S. government to set up and frame Trump? And they said, oh, we had to do this. It was unprecedented. We had to really rush things. No, they rushed things because they ignored the fact that senior officials stated there was no evidence. They rushed things because they wanted to set up and frame Trump. This is obvious.
I don't know. But I know that there was a sufficient basis of information and intelligence that required further investigation by the Bureau to determine whether or not U.S. persons were actively conspiring, colluding with Russian officials.
Do you know the basis of that information that you share with the Bureau? I mean, what was the nature of the evidence?
I think, Mr. Gowdy, this committee has now been provided information that relates to that issue in terms of...
The nature of the evidence was literally a dossier purchased by Trump's direct political rival. This not only broke norms and traditions, it created a new McCarthy era. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Be here for the live stream later.